The time for declaration, honourable members, is 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we expect to receive a lot of criticism when it comes to the vote because of our decision to force a vote on this matter, given the long-standing practice that when a position is allocated to a party for representation on other forums, it is taken as the prerogative of that party.
Excuse me, order, honourable members, I'm sorry. The time for your declaration, as it has been agreed to before in the Rules Committee, the 5 minutes. 5 minutes, you can continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Given the long-standing practice that when a position is allocated to a party for representation on other forums, it is taken as the prerogative of that party to decide who will represent the National Assembly. We also expect the argument to be made that for as long as an individual is deemed to be fit and proper to serve the National Assembly, you are consequently fit and proper to represent the National Assembly on other forums. However, in the current context, there are 2 reasons why this process should not continue today. The first is that it is a matter of public record that Dr. Hlophe lost the status as a judge of the High Court of South Africa as a consequence of a finding of gross misconduct by the Judicial Services Commission. The decision to be taken today is furthermore not merely a political decision, but the exercise of a public power aimed at contributing to the establishment of the very same Judicial Services Commission. In the circumstances, it's a legal requirement of the National Assembly to act in a reasonable and rational manner. We are strongly of the view that it is neither reasonable nor rational to elect Dr. Hlophe as a representative of the National Assembly on the Judicial Services Commission. The second reason why Parliament should not elect Dr. Hlophe is to be found on the grounds I've just mentioned, if you listened, Honourable Member. The second reason why Parliament should not elect Dr. Hlophe is to be found in the constitutional obligation which we as members of the National Assembly enjoy to assist and protect the judiciary in order to ensure its independence, its impartiality, its dignity and its effectiveness. Madam Speaker, even if the majority today holds the view that any person who is fit and proper to be a member of Parliament is fit and proper to be a member of the JSC, it must follow that a large number of applicants to be interviewed by the Judicial Services Commission going forward will object and apply for the recusal of Dr. Hlophe on the basis the finding of gross misconduct renders him unfit to serve on a body that is determined to fitness, that is to determine the fitness and the propriety of others. Madam Speaker, this poses the risk of paralyzing the JSC and tying it up in endless review processes. If we are to assist and support the judiciary, Madam Speaker, we must today refrain from exposing the Judicial Services Commission to this risk. The DA cannot vote to put Dr. John Hlophe on the JSC. Thank you.
Order, honourable members. The MK Party, 4 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The provisions of Section 1781 of the Constitution 1996 set out the composition of the Judicial Services Commission, JSC. Apart from the Chief Justice, the President of the Supreme Court of Appeal, the JSC, also consists of 6 persons designated by the National Assembly from among its members, at least 3 of whom must be members of opposition parties represented in the Assembly in terms of Section 1781H of the Constitution. The Constitution does not contain an inherent qualification requirement for members to sit on the JSC. Since members who qualify to be appointed to the JSC are already members of Parliament and therefore bound by their oath of office, the Constitution in its wisdom does not regulate the qualification of members to sit in the JSC. The existing Constitution scholarship on the makeup of the JSC endorses the appointment of politicians to the JSC. According to Professor Pierre de Vos, judges are not elected. The involvement of politicians in the JSC provides a semblance of credibility to the JSC process, especially because politicians are deemed to enjoy the mandate of the electorate. The further point to be made relates to the powers of the judiciary, which include invalidating legislation and adjudicating serious matters of national public importance. Importantly, politicians are involved in the JSC so that they amplify the voice of the poor, the electorate. Therefore, the legal qualification and judicial experience of members such as Dr. Hlophe are a shoe fit for a body such as the JSC. It is also important to highlight that the numerical and proportional strength of parties such as the MKP and the resultant privileges accruing from that are constitutionally protected. The attempt to erode the will of the people by dictating to the MKP which of its preferred candidates are to be designated to the JSC is constitutionally repulsive. More importantly, the rules of the National Assembly do not prescribe the minimum requirement for the delegation or appointment of members to any of its forums such as the JSC. The MKP has done huge justice to the House to bring into the lawmaking house a Cambridge graduate, PhD graduate with law, a Cambridge graduate, PhD graduate from Cambridge with law degree to come into the House and assist the House to make the laws of this country. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. EFF, 4 minutes.
No, thank you very much, Speaker of the National Assembly. We, as the economic freedom fighters, fully support the appointment of Dr. Mandlakaise John Hlophe as a representative of South Africa's 7th Parliament in the Judicial Services Commission. As a matter of principle is that anyone who is eligible to become a member of Parliament as per Section 47 of the Constitution can be delegated to whatever responsibility that all members of Parliament are eligible for. And that is the principle that we had sustained. There are so many less than capable members of the Democratic Alliance, some of which are serving in the executive now, who do not have any form of qualification or direction. We have not yet exposed their incapacity because they're eligible to be appointed even as executives. Some of them are even deputized by people who are more qualified than them. It's just a group of white illiterates, semi-illiterates that are presiding over government because a certain section of society has given you that responsibility. We respect that. So let's respect the fact that a certain number of people in South Africa have voted for Mkhonto as a party and have designated Dr. Hlophe to become a member of Parliament. So let's respect that. It's a matter of protocol, which we have always protected in the Chief Whips Forum, that whoever is designated by a political party must be respected. So we wish you well, Dr. Hlophe, in the Judicial Services Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Patriotic Alliance. Sorry. Patriotic Alliance. Order. FF Plus. Order, honourable members.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Speaker, it is true that the Constitution does not dictate and prescribe who a party may appoint to the JSC. But it is also true that we should be rational. It is also true that what the Honourable Shivambu said and what the Honourable member from the MKP said, that they did bring us a highly qualified person in the form of Dr. Hlophe. But what they do not mention is that Dr. Hlophe is also the first judge to have been removed from office. And that cannot be ignored. That cannot be ignored. And then we should be rational. Then we should protect the integrity of the judicial. Then we should protect the integrity of the judicial system. Then we should protect the separation of powers. And we should be rational with the conflict of apparent interest that there will be in the appointment of Dr. Hlophe in that position. We cannot support that, and there is a void in the Constitution with regards to this, and this should be addressed. A member cannot be impeached by this House and then be fit and proper to serve in this House. I thank you.
Order, honourable members.